Hi, this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and you're listening to No BS Hiring Advice Radio. I broadcast that on Blog Talk Radio. I simulcast it on YouTube. Um, I do this because I find that more often than not, firms have systems in place that interfere with their ability to hire effectively. So what I try to do is really very simple. I want to give you no BS advice that's designed to help you do recruiting more effectively, because I don't believe it needs to be all that hard, difficult, painful, take that long, or be that complicated to fill positions. I also try and provide tactics and strategies that will help people be more effective, and do this all within 15 minutes. Now, today's show may be a little shorter, a little bit longer, but I try to target in around 15 minutes of advice. And today's show is brought to you by two sponsors. The first is Audible. If you go to audibletrial.com/The Big Game Hunter, you'll be able to sign up for a free trial of Audible and get a free audio book as part of that free trial. And I know you like audio. You listen to my podcast, right? Whether it's this one or Job Search Radio or No BS Job Search Advice Radio, you're listening to podcasts and learning from them. So while you're enjoying audio, you might try Audible. And again, audibletrial.com/The Big Game Hunter. Next sponsor is consultingassignments.com. That's a site where you can find and fill consulting assignments, full-time consulting positions, temp to perm, and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world completely free. Posting a job or a resume is free. Searching jobs and resumes is also free, as is the ability to contact one another. The only thing the site is charging for is if you can feature more than one position. They have prices that go down to as little as $2 for 45 days. So again, the site is consultingassignments.com. So I thought I would do a podcast and a video about tactical stuff today, and look at ways that you can get better results from your recruiting efforts beyond simply screening all these useless resumes that come in from job boards in one form or another. So given the idea that you want to be proactive, you want to try some different sorts of things and change things up. Now, understand, my philosophy is always everything works, but they never quite work to the same degree as we would like them to. So the idea is to experiment with different concepts, with different people, see what works for you, given your personality and temperament, not because it makes you more comfortable, but people respond to it well. So, consider trying some of these ideas out when you get requirements. Now, first thing I want to suggest to you is one of the best ways to fill positions is looking at former employees. Now, if you've done an exit interview with an employee, you know the role that they've gone on to, and thus have the ability to reach out to them, and assuming that what they told you about is true, reach out to them as a potential employee by trying to, in effect, re-recruit them. Now, you can talk with them about their work. You can also ask them for referrals. They've had a relationship with your organization. You can call up and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a corporate recruiter with one of your old employers, so-and-so. We're trying to fill a position with our firm. Don't know if you might be qualified or interested, but maybe I could just start by talking with you a little bit about the work that you're doing. And at a minimum, I thought I might pick your brain and see if you might be able to point me towards someone. So, number one, consider a boomerang as a potential fill for a job. Number two, consider them as a potential source of referrals for you. But you have to have somewhat accurate information. And along the way, I hope your systems keep track of phone numbers and email addresses for people. Yes, all these things may change if they've moved, but email tends to stay with people a lot longer now. There's been no new email technology that really causes anyone to really jump from one place to another. So number one, ask them about their current work, and what they're doing, and they'll see if they fit what you're looking for. Number two is if they go, no, I'm happy where I am. I don't need to go into this right now. Could I pick your brain for a second? Because I'm thinking that maybe you might know someone who would make sense for me to reach out to. I know I'm not trying to poach them from your current employer, although if you know someone who's looking who fits this, I'd be happy to talk with them. But I thought maybe you might know some. Just keep it real simple. So number one is contacting former employees. Number two is at the time you hire someone, consider reaching out to them for referrals and just simply ask them a question along the lines of, who else at your former employer would it make sense for us to reach out to about roles? We have positions like this one. We have other roles that might make sense. Who would it make sense for me to reach out to? Obviously, if it's your preference, I can keep your name out of it. So in this way, these are people who know other individuals at their soon-to-be former employer. Thus you can reach out to people that they're currently working with who are about to leave. Is there anyone that you'd like to take over with you and work with in your new role heading up such and such? Any subordinates it would make sense for us to reach out to? You can at this point remind them of the employee referral bonus so that in this way they have the financial incentive. Now, here's a favorite one of mine, and I'm involved with something like this right now in a search that I'm involved with, and that's reaching out to people who just came in second place, sometimes referred to as people who won the silver. Using the analogy from the Olympics, is the gold medals, the silvers, and the bronze. Sometimes the bronze are the right people, sometimes it's the silver. But you want, ideally, the silver medalist for a job. Now, imagine for a second, you were trying to fill a position a year ago. You filled it, the person isn't working out. Why not go to the second place finisher? You like them a lot, see whether or not they might be available and interested in the opportunity now. Be prepared to talk cogently about the failure of the person they chose, what didn't work about them, because they're going to ask, if they've got half a brain in their head, and obviously they do, you want to hire them. If they've got half a brain, they're going to want to know what happened to the person they hired at that time. And you have to talk about the professional failure that individual had. Or if they've already left, what caused them to leave? Ideally, you want to be able to say a former manager called them up, a former partner with their firm called them up and seduced them to come back or to join them in a new venture. Join them in a new venture is obviously preferable to going back. But consider that you want to have individuals, you want to have data available that allows you to know who to contact and track the interview process from a previous attempt to fill these jobs. Next, you will always want to think in terms of making your job descriptions on job boards far more appealing. Now, sometimes people don't get calls back because their ads are kind of read ordinary. What's exciting about this job? What's going to get someone turned on? If the answer is nothing, then basically what you're doing is just hiring another slab of meat to replace another slab of meat. No one likes to feel that way. What makes the job interesting for someone to join? Be prepared to talk about that. Think in terms of what it's like from an employee perspective to see your job listing. Is it anything that might vaguely turn them on, or is it just reading like another job? That may be the whole reason why you're not getting calls back when you're leaving messages. They flip the resume saying, hey, what the heck? And then another bright, shiny object caught their attention, and now they're off looking at that job. So consider that what you're looking for is a description that gets people piqued and excited and thrilled about the fact that, oh man, that's great, I got a call on that job. They can tell their wife, partner, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend about that and be excited about it. Isn't that really what you want? One final thing, and this is a subtlety that I think is helpful if you collect the data about it. What is it that caused your firm to get the acceptance on the offer? Now, what you can do with this isn't about filling this job, it's about filling subsequent jobs. You want to know what's the driver here that caused them to say yes to an offer. What was it that got them excited about this position that motivated them to say yes? Now, collect the data on both an enterprise level, but also correlate it with hiring managers. Because what is it that this manager may be doing well, or is it that the job is calling attention? You don't know unless you correlate it. So remember, if you've got a manager who's trying to fill three different types of roles for the sake of argument, and you bring on 3 people to fill these jobs, and they all say the same thing, it's not about the job, it's about how the manager is selling the job. If you see that that manager and a bunch of others are selling the same way, and one of them is getting results with it and one isn't, you've learned something there about how that person sells the opportunity. So keep track of why people say yes. You're going to find some interesting pieces of information in there. So that's my advice for this show. I hope you found my no BS hiring advice helpful. If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you share it, leave a comment, click the like button, do something that lets people know that this advice was worthwhile. If you're listening on Blog Talk Radio or on YouTube, again, share it. There's a variety of different ways that you can share this. I would appreciate if other people knew, because at the end of the day, I want to help organizations do a more effective job of hiring. By the way, if you like this podcast and are listening to it in iTunes, why don't you subscribe in iTunes? Let people know that this was a worthwhile show. I also want to encourage you to come over to my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. I've got a lot of content that will help you as a hiring manager do a more effective job there. I have videos there, articles I've written, podcasts. Again, go to thebiggamehunter.us, go explore it. First of all, if we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. The address is linkedin.com/in/thebiggamehunter. I accept connection requests from people worldwide, except if you look like a spammer to me, except if you're in a country that I would associate with Ponzi schemes or things like that. And I don't accept them from third-party recruiters. I also want to mention, if your firm is trying to hire someone, send me an email at the address below, which would be Jeff Altman at thebiggamehunter.us. Let me know who to contact and whether I should mention your name. I'd love to help your firm staff positions. And finally, if you have some question about recruiting, I'd love to help you. Order a 15-minute consult from me through my website. Be happy to answer your questions. So this is Jeff Altman. Hope you found this helpful. Hope you have a great day. Take care.